This video will show you how to replace the front door window regulator on a GMC Sierra 2500. This will be mounted inside of your front door. Let's get into it. To remove the door panel, let's start in this upper corner. I'm going to be using a plastic trim tool so I don't scratch the paint on the vehicle. We're just making our way in between this area. We're gently prying, starting from the top, and it should want to pull away. Now as we move towards our grab handle, we're going to have to remove the outer trim panel. You can see a clear difference here. Go ahead and separate it. I'm just going to use a flat blade screwdriver so I can make my way in between and gently start pulling it away. You don't want to damage it because we are reusing it. There we are. With that out of the way, you're going to find that you have two 10mm headed mounting bolts. There's our first mounting bolt. And the second mounting bolt. We'll take hold of the grab handle. It's going to pull away from the door. Quick inspection, set it aside. Now as you look along this area, we can see where our window and door lock switches are. We're going to carefully lift up on this panel next. Plastic trim tool, gently pry. Looking along the bottom of this, we can see several electrical connectors. Let's start disconnecting these. With that dislodged, we can continue on to removing all four of our electrical connectors. Now we have a locking tab for each of these. For this one in particular, you can see that we do have a small locking tab deep in this area. You could either try to press on it by hand, or you could use a small pick or screwdriver, whatever is easiest for you. I'm going to be using a small pocket screwdriver for this. We'll push in our locking tab and slide that out of place. A quick inspection for corrosion, of course. If you see any, it needs to be taken care of. This looks good. Let's continue on to all others. Another locking tab. Now for this end one, you're going to find that you do have a small locking tab. It's on the inboard side. I'm using my small pocket screwdriver to lightly pry this away. I don't want to cause any damage to the connector. We just want to pull it away far enough we can dislodge the electrical connector. No corrosion there. Just a quick inspection of the switch panel and we'll set this aside. We're tucking the wires inside this port. What you're going to find is that you have an electrical connector with a wiring harness, and there's a mounting point that you can see the tip of right here. Go ahead and press that down inside the door panel. I'm going to press that in and I'll show you exactly what it looks like. Behind where the inside door handle is, you're going to find that you have a small plastic trap door. We're going to remove that. I'm just using a small angled pick. Make my way in between. We should be able to separate this. A thorough inspection of that. Behind that area, you're going to find a 10mm headed mounting bolt. Let's remove that. Now inside behind this grab handle, you're going to find that you have another plastic panel that has to be dislodged, and that's going to expose two 10mm mounting bolts. Now I'm just going to be using my small pocket screwdriver for this. I'll make my way in between an area that I can gently pry. There we are. When you go to remove these bolts, just keep in mind, once you loosen them, they may fall inside the door panel. We're removing the door panel anyway, but we don't want to lose the bolts. Just have a magnet handy. There's our first bolt. Bolt number 2. Let's move towards the door lock knob next. Have it in the unlocked position. Looking in this area, we can see that we do have a square tab. I'm using my pocket screwdriver. I'm gently prying the upper portion away. That's unlocking this, and now I should be able to lift up on this knob. There's our knob. It's not damaged in any way. This looks good. Go ahead and remove the plastic panel that goes around this area. There we are. Now we can start removing the door panel from the door itself. To do this, I'm going to be using a plastic trim tool. I want to make my way in between the plastic door panel and the door, and I don't want to scratch my paint. As you make your way in between, we're going to start prying away. You're going to find that there's several plastic push clips holding this in place. Continuing on, we should be able to lift up on the door panel. We'll start pulling it away so we can gain access along the back side. Now, as we pivot the door panel, I'm looking from along the bottom here. I can see where my cable goes into my inside handle, and then we have the cable end leading down into this area. We have to dislodge the outer casing first. If you are looking at the casing, it has a connector down in this area, 2 squeezable tabs. For this, you can use some pliers or another device that can slide over each one of those tabs to gently release this. We want to be careful not to break it. There we are. Now I can pivot this through the slot on the door handle itself and remove the other portion of the cable. A thorough inspection of the cable to confirm it's still in good usable order, and we can set this panel aside. Now, to be able to do this, you're going to want to have the window in the fully upright position. If you don't have it there previously, just go ahead and reattach the window switch itself with the 2 center ports here. After that, put the key in the on position, power the window to the fully upright position. Press that in. This one. All right, keys in the on position. And the window is up. Go ahead and turn off key power, and we're going to re-disconnect our switch. Now we can go ahead and remove our foam insulator here. Typically this will be stuck in place with some sort of adhesive. You're going to have to carefully remove this. For that, I'm just pulling away on the top, and I'm tucking the wires in and behind. Now continuing on, we can start pulling this down. As you can see, it is already separating here. I'm going to continue on with a plastic razor blade. Let's continue on, making my way to the far side here. Just trying to remove as much of this as possible. Typically down along the bottom you can leave this hanging. We just need to be able to gain access to our mounting hardware. So now I have it so this entire area is wide open. We still have access to the lower hardware for the window regulator. It's right out in the open. Just go ahead and fold this down temporarily for now. Let's continue on to removing this metal bracket. It's held in place with 3 10mm headed mounting bolts. We'll take hold of the bracket. You're going to lift it up slightly. It has 2 small locating tabs. You can see those here and right down here. Quick inspection, set it aside. Before we disconnect our electrical motor for our power steering window, let's have a look inside of this port here, and then there's going to be another area over there. But for now, as you look in here, you're going to find that there's a 10mm headed mounting bolt. Now this bolt actually squeezes together a clamp that grabs onto the glass of the window. So when you loosen the bolt, it's going to release the glass. That's exactly what we're looking for. For this bolt, you only need to loosen it. You do not need to fully remove it. You can see that one right out in the open here. The next thing that we always like to do is make sure that we have the window in a stable position in the fully upright position. Now for this, you can either use some painter's tape, you'd want to use several strips, or if you happen to have a suction cup apparatus like I have here that goes over the door itself, you can use this as well. Whatever's easiest for you, just make sure it's safe. Let's reconnect our window switch here. We're just plugging this in. We have our other connector. Now at this point, we have the key in the on position. We're going to be powering the window regulator and motor assembly down, but the window glass needs to stay up. Perfect. Let's go ahead and turn off key power. Now as we look into this port here, we can see where our window motor is. We need to disconnect the electrical connector. It has a locking tab. You may be able to press it in by hand, or you may have to use a small pocket screwdriver. I'm just going to press right in here. Slide it out of there. No corrosion there, that looks good. Now we're going to continue on to this 10mm bolt we can see right here, holding the window motor to the door itself. As you look up along the top of the door here, you're going to find that you have 2 more 10mm headed mounting bolts, one on one side, one over on the other. Now that I've shown you those, we'll make our way down to the bottom, which is where we're going to proceed next. We have 2 10mm mounting nuts. Now for these upper mounting bolts, you can see where the bolt is, and then just above it you have a circular port. Now this is here so you can loosen the bolt but leave it in a couple threads. Do the same to the other side. After that, we're reaching carefully into the door. We'll take hold of the window regulator, lift it up so the bolt makes its way to the port, press it towards the outer portion of the door, and then we should be able to slide everything right out the larger port along the center. We'll reach into this area, we're lifting up. Go ahead and take hold of that and remove it from the door. There it is, friend. Okay, friend, now let's have a quick look at our brand new front window regulator compared to the original. You're going to find that it matches up in most ways, but there is a couple things that we want to pay attention to. On the original regulator, you remember that we left our upper mounting bolts in a couple threads. We're going to fully remove those and swap them over to the brand new regulator. But of course, we're leaving them loose. There's that one. There's the other. Something else to pay attention to along the bottom of the window regulator. As you remember on the original, we had small mounting studs. On the brand new window regulator, it's a little different hardware here. You have a 10mm bolt for each side. Go ahead and remove the bolt from each side of the regulator now, and then we can get this installed in the vehicle. Now, as for this window regulator, we're going to make sure we have it in the proper orientation. As we bring it in, we'll also make sure that we have our small clamshells that hold the window in the open position. Just loosen those bolts as needed. The window glass slides in between during the installation. Now I'm bringing this side of the regulator up to its mounting point in this area. We still have our mounting bolt in a couple threads, so we should be able to align this. Let's do the same for the other. Down towards the bottom, we're going to have to move this around to an area that we can gain access to the mounting port. That one started in. Let's go ahead and snug that up. We'll make our way all the way up to the top now. In the center area, close to the power window motor, install that mounting bolt as well. Now onto the electrical connector. That's secure. Now at this point, you want to make sure there's nothing inside of the door that shouldn't be there. We'll put the key in the on position and we're going to power the window regulator up, but you want to pay attention along each side as the regulator comes up. Those little clamshells need to go along the glass. Slow and steady. Being aware of any pinch points or dangerous situations, you need to have a close look inside this area, confirming that that regulator is along the glass on each side. After that, go ahead and turn off key power. After that, we'll tighten the window regulator hardware, holding the regulator to the glass. I've double checked each side to confirm it's properly in place. Let's snug each piece of hardware. Go ahead and remove your window support, and now we're going to test the functionality of the window regulator with the window attached to it. So the key's in the on position again. Let's power this down and back up, confirming it's not binding in any way. The key's in the on position. All right, go ahead and turn off key power. We're going to remove our window switch. Now we can get our metal plate in place. As you remember, during the removal process, we have two small tabs. There's one up along the top, it's angled, and then down here we have a location tab. Looking at the door itself, we have the upper area and then the lower area. Let's just go ahead and set this in position so we can start in all three of our mounting bolts. Now it's time for our foam insulator. As far as the foam insulator, we want to make sure that we start with our cable that leads to our outside latch. That's going to go through this lower port here. Slides right in there. Now, of course, I do also have my wiring harnesses. Those are going to go through this larger port just above that. We can see everything where it needs to be here. Continuing on, you want to make sure you reapply the insulator to the door. Now let's take hold of our inside door handle cable, and we're going to install it onto the inside door handle. As you remember during the removal process, the very end of the cable slides into this area, so I'm going to start with that. Now I can stretch the outer cable casing, and I'm going to bring it through this slot and then into the circular port, locking it in. There we are. Just double check to make sure that's secured in place. Now that we have the inside door handle cable in place, let's continue on with the rest of the door panel. We have to bring it up nice and high so the door panel fits along this channel across the top of the inside window sweep. We also want to make sure the door lock rod makes its way through the proper port as well. Just a couple of light taps across the top here. Carefully reach inside behind the door panel. We have our wiring harnesses. We want those in an area that we can gain access. After pressing it down along the top, have a quick look along the side, in between the door panel and the door itself. As you remember during the removal process, there was several push tabs holding this in place. We need to make sure they're properly aligned, and then you can tap the door panel in towards the door. We're making our way all the way around. Now behind the inside door handle, let's install our mounting bolts. Get that started in there. After that, we'll continue on with our plastic protective cover. This has to go in the proper direction. You're going to find one side has a locating tab. That's going to go on this side here, over towards where the handle mounts to the door. We'll make our way up towards where the door lock is next. We have the door lock rod. You can see it sticking up through this area. Now we do have our plastic panel. That's going to slide down inside here. Press it in. We'll listen for an audible click. Now let's continue on with the door lock knob. As far as that door lock knob, we want to make sure it's in the unlocked position. You can take hold of the plastic lock and remove it. Now let's start pressing this down onto the door lock rod. We want to press it down as far as we can so we can still gain access to the area for the lock. Now we have our little lock tab here. We're lining this up and we're going to press it in as far as possible. Go ahead and test the functionality of that, and we'll leave it in the unlocked position while we continue on. Now underneath the inside grab handle here, we're going to go ahead and install each of our two mounting bolts. After you have both of those in place, install your plastic protective panel. To install each of these, I have it started on a magnet here so I don't drop it inside of the door panel. Okay, I have that one started in, but left loose. Let's continue on to the next. They're both started in. Let's go ahead and tighten them up and install our plastic panel. When installing the plastic panel, let's make sure we have it in the proper orientation. We have two locking tabs along the side and locating tabs along the bottom. Press it in, double check to make sure it's seated all the way across. Now when we go to reinstall the harnesses in this area, of course we do have one mounting point. Now this has a small tab that protrudes up and out of this panel here, so I'm coming from under, and then I'm going to press it up. We can see the tab there. We'll just double check to make sure that's secured. I'm going to tuck that wiring down inside. Now let's reattach our switch panel in this area. You don't have to worry about mixing up the connectors. They only fit in one area. Just line them up, press them in, and listen for a click. Now we can take this, we're going to line it up and press it down and in position. Let's continue on with the grab handle. We'll get this aligned. We have our two 10mm headed bolts, one for each port, one up top, one down in the bottom area here. Let's install our trim panel across this area. Make sure that's secured all the way across. Up along the top, let's get this corner piece installed. We'll line it up, press it in.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.